I hope you're doing well. I want to jump right in here. Father, help us to open our eyes. I pray a greater discernment for you not to be hooked up with foolish, messy people. Okay. So everybody knows there's multiple signs of what a foolish person does. That's the reason why we're doing Proverbs here. You can read it. I'm only sharing with you from a perspective that you need to pay attention to and give you a couple of scriptures, as I said before, to kind of get you to look at closer. Okay, so this fool word, even though we hear people saying, I ain't no fool, don't call people no fool, but they are really out there. This word fool appears 72 times in the book of Proverbs. So that should say a lot. That if the Bible is telling you that we better pay attention and let our eyes discern a fool, that's very clear. But the problem that I have is why people want to have foolish conversations with people. Why you want to let someone you know that is foolish, you know they're going nowhere soon. Why are you talking to them? And one of the things I think is very important to remember: a fool don't like knowledge, they don't like correction, they just blurt out anything. They're very, very annoying, they're very narcissistic, and they play games with your mind when they know that they're not right, but they just want to make themselves appear right. So they're very complacent. They try to destroy relationships. They chatter a lot about, and they talk too much. Like I always say, watch that mouth. The mouth of a fool invites ruin because they run their mouth all the time. They lack the sense that they need. They have wicked devices and schemes that they do. They just have these ways to be very prideful and look like they've arrived somewhere. Another thing about a fool, their eyes wander, here and there, and they mock people. You need to pay attention to a fool. They just hate knowledge. They just hate things that are good. They find ways to do evil. I know I'm talking to somebody. So those who trust in these foolish ways and have these foolish conversations says a lot. They're there to vent. They're there to find a way to slander many people to you, while after you, they're talking about you to other people. You need to remember now, they're one to divide. They're there to make sure they ruin. And so they just got a lot of deceptive things going on in their lives. They hate knowledge. They're hot headed. They're very complacent. They just destroy things and destroy lives. So you got to watch these foolish conversations that you're having with people. The way of a fool is always going to seem right in their eyes. Look at Proverbs 12 and 15. That's clear. But it's better to heed the rebuke of a wise person. If you're a foolish person that's listening to me now, and those that's listening to people that don't have counsel that is wise, they have the foolish counsel. This is the reason why you keep falling in the ditch. It's better to heed the rebuke of a wise person than to listen to the song of a fool. I'm telling you right now, we need to make sure we pay attention to the foolish conversation so that you don't get trapped in that. But these are the verses I want you to take down, that I think will give you some wisdom, I pray. And when we think about this in Proverbs 26 here, it's focusing on the nature of foolishness, okay? It's focusing on laziness and deceitfulness. And it's what it's doing is emphasizing the consequences of these traits and wisdom you need to avoid them and the types of characters that these may be. And so we have to learn how to pray for the foolish because they've been fooled so much and they think they're tricking, they're getting tricked, but they think they're tricking you, but they always reap what they sow before they even know. Okay, so Proverbs 4 and 5, I'm sorry, 26, 4 and 5, that says, do not answer a fool according to his folly, or you yourself will be just like him. I'm reading the NIV. Answer a fool according to his folly, or he will be wise in his own eyes. So this verse is highlighting the complexity of dealing with foolishness and foolish conversation. So it takes discernment to know when to respond to a fool and when to stay alert and to watch, so you can balance the risk of getting caught in their foolishness. This sometimes have to be corrected to let them know that you need it, that you see it. Like I always say, I see you. But when you see them, that means you're held accountable for what you know. So you won't be foolish. But the other thing I think is foolish, because I've been there and done that, and I know you that maybe listen to me that maybe still dating or going through a divorce or whatever. A lot of times we get with people from old vomit or old soul ties. So think about where I've been there, where many times we return to the vomit. 26 and verse 11 says, as a dog returns to its vomit, so fools repeat their folly. Do not allow yourself to be in these repetitive places. It's foolishness that you keep going back to people. You know, I don't care how good the sex was. I don't care how much money they got. You know they was violent. You know they was verbally abusive and physically abusive. You know that they was always having you take care of them. Either way it was, she taking care of you or you taking care of her. And it was always a one-sided deal. And then, or they were very abusive and narcissistic. And so here you are back to the foolishness, licking the vomit back up, sitting back in it, and you still sad because you think you got them, but it's just temporary. Showing that wisdom is very important. They can't show that. So people often fall into these traps and make these mistakes and back and forth with these habits over and over again is what it's trying to show you. And then verse 20 says, without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. So that means that what you don't say is better than what you're saying with a fool, because they're going to take it and tell somebody else with a whole lot of strife and backbiting and everything else. So this proverb is teaching us that strife and discord can often be avoided by stop gossiping, stop sharing information with foolish people, stop talking harmful things and repeating these things that other people are saying, that you think that you need them to know, or you just want to kick it with them and share them stuff that you want to find out they know about. But really, these types of people that are foolish, you have now received that type of thing that has now leaped on you. Foolishness, foolish conversation. So this chapter is warning us of the dangers of engaging with foolishness and foolish people. Repeating these mistakes over and over again, spreading gossip, So I advise you, as this scripture is advising us, to restrain our mouths, restrain what you're thinking, because it's your thoughts and everything have become weak from being with these people. It has leaped over on you. It's talking about the importance of choosing your words carefully and foster peace and wisdom, and don't be hooking up with people you can clearly see are not doing what they should be doing, and that is demonstrating love and peace and unity. Okay, so the final thing that I want to share about this, the Bible is referring to the lack of wisdom and moral insight for people that are foolish and have foolish conversation. Okay, so you want to look at how to reject these types of conversation. You think about the characteristics of this type of person. You want to make sure that everything that they're saying, you're going to have to filter it to make sure that it's not destructive, okay? You have to filter it to make sure that this person who is speaking to you is not giving you foolish conversation and being very impulsive and don't have restraint with their mouths and their behavior, and they're provocative in the spirit. You got to be very, very careful with this type of person. Many times, these people think that they're smart because they have a lot of intellect, but they are very prideful. Watch this kind of conversation, because this is not of God. Remember, God is trying to show you this is the heart condition. That's a mark. That's something you need to discern. This mark, this characteristic, because they lack the reverence of God, the fear of God. So you need to choose wisdom over foolish conversation. Try to bring peace and life and blessings, and let your fruit hang high, because if not, you're going to be caught up with this type of foolish conversation. It's going to send you to somewhere you're going to regret. So here I want to leave this here particular what you call comment, or this I guess you want to call it a quote. It says, he is no fool who gives what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose. A fool thinks himself to be wise, but a wise man knows himself to be a fool. A wise man can learn more than a foolish question than a fool can learn from a wise answer. So a fool will believe anything, right? A fool will believe anything. Sensible people watch their step. Wise people are careful to stay out of trouble. But stupid people who are not wise, that are silly and foolish, are careless and act too quickly. People with a hot temper do foolish things. Wiser people remain calm. I pray that God has blessed you today on this one. And remember, God is watching you to see and to hold discernment about foolish conversation. God bless you. I pray that you would share it.